Welcome, everybody. This is such a nice turnout. Oh, there's still more people coming. Yay. And I'm so excited about this. So sorry, just letting more people in. Um, I wrote, for those of you who don't know, I wrote a book. It's called Painless. It's the book. See, it's me on the cover. And I wrote this book about 6 years ago. Because I've been working with these ideas for almost 10 years now, these ideas about the mind-body connection and the three principles, which I'm happy to go deeper into for anybody who's not familiar with these ideas. And I've wanted to do an online course ever since because I've done several courses based on my book and based on the ideas. And as I've worked with more and more clients around the world, I've gained so much more information and examples and experience and confidence with these ideas and seen so many people be affected and get well and have wonderful changes in their well-being and their pain levels. And I've always wanted to do an online course. And I tried a few times and I would always get bogged down in the technology and I'd get so frustrated with, with doing it. And then I know, lose a recording and then I'd get mixed up and then come back and try it again. And then I'd get distracted by some other wonderful projects, that I've had going on in the last few years. I've now written 4 books. I'm doing retreats, different places around the world and leading lots of groups. And so I I thought, okay, I'm going to try one more time. And at the beginning this year, I led another painless course, which some people here have joined us. We're on that course. And what I decided to do was use the recording. So when I would present something, I put it onto speaker view. So it was just me, presenting the idea. And then I'd put it back onto gallery like we have now so that all the people on the course could ask questions and discuss things with me. And then I edited them out and just kept the stuff with me talking. And it was so much better because I don't know if any of you guys have tried this, but when you just talk to the camera, and it's like you and the cat going, "Hello, everybody." It's really hard to be spontaneous and to keep flowing and like you fluff your words and you have to start over. But I found when I was talking to a group of people, it was so much easier and it just flowed I ended up with 6 hours worth of information that I turned into this course. So that's just the quick introduction I wanted to give you of why I'm doing this. And I launched it, was it last week or the week before? And already there's been a lot of sales and I'm very excited about this. Several people have have completed it already. And it was just the creative process of it was wonderful. When I took the live group out and just had myself talking, I thought nobody needs to listen to me talking just, for 6 hours straight. So I separated it into different modules and I put animations on it and cartoons and graphics and videos to illustrate and explain the ideas that I'm sharing with everybody. So the 6 modules, I'm trying to remember what they are now. So the first one is the nature of pain. And in that first module, I talk a lot about how the pain, there's different kinds of pain, meaning there's acute pain and there's chronic pain. And chronic pain is usually um, determined by something that's been going on for more than 3 months. If a physical condition has been going on for 3 months or more, and there's no medical explanation for it, then that's usually called chronic pain. I talk about phantom limb pain, about how pain works in the brain. It's actually an illusion. It's a special effect, it's produced by the brain. It doesn't actually happen in the body. And so that whole hour, that first session, we're talking about the nature of pain and how it shows up in our bodies. How I'm going to suggest that it's actually an alarm system. It's wisdom. It's a signal. And the analogy I've really been enjoying recently is that if you or anybody, if you're in your house and the electrics aren't working properly, you've probably got a fuse box or a circuit breaker, and everything goes off. It might go dark, your computer goes off, everything goes off. And as annoying as that is, and you have to go to the fuse box and find the right fuse and flip it all back on again. You know, maybe you've got a flashlight or a torch going down into the basement to try and do that. As annoying as that is, it's better than your house burning down, right? So, right, whoever invented circuit breakers and fuse boxes is brilliant because thank you. Because when I lived in California, I lived on the beach and everybody's houses there were wood, these beautiful wooden cottages. And I saw one of them catch on fire once and burn down. It's a ferocious thing to see someone's house on fire. You know, so when we have pain, it's like an alarm system is going off and it's alerting us to pay attention. So the rest of the course is really what are we going to do with that information? What is this alarm trying to tell us? And so I think the next module is about the fight or flight response and about how when we're often in chronic pain, that fight or flight response has been activated on such a level that it's kind of on all the time. I know mine was kind of maybe not glaring all the time, but it was kind of like in the distance in the background, just revving up my nervous system all the time. And then in the rest of the course, I start talking about how we experience this through the gift of thought and thinking, about moods. Because I don't know about you, but I know when I was in a low mood, my chronic pain, which went on for 25 years, was much harder to handle when I was in a low mood. Because then I'd start catastrophizing or worrying it. And um, thank God he didn't really have Google and stuff when I was suffering like that. But I know a lot of my clients are Googling at 3 o'clock in the morning, trying to find out what's wrong and scaring themselves even more. And then talking about how we have this innate well-being system. And this is what I'm calling it, the innate well-being system, meaning we all have incredible wisdom in our bodies, and our minds are connected to this wisdom and connected to the source of the universe, whatever you want to call that. And our innate well-being system is designed to get our attention, and it uses pain to do that. I think it uses all kinds of things actually to get our attention. For example, I often when I'm working with children, I'll say, when your tummy's rumbling, what does that mean? And they're like, I don't know. I said, does it mean you're dying? No, it means you're hungry. It's just information. If you're running around and you're getting hot, and you start, it doesn't mean you're leaking, right? It means that you need to that you're probably you're sweating to cool your body down, so you need to drink. All these systems are incredible wisdom and information, and when we understand how they work, we're able to make use of them, and then and take care of ourselves. And before I understood how this system worked, I used to get very confused and very panicked by the pain and panicked by things I didn't understand. And that's how we can often rush off, to all kinds of doctors who are very well-meaning, trying to help us, and we're getting labels and diagnoses. And then when that doesn't work, we're turning to alternative medicine. In fact, I can remember being in Australia and in such agony with a urine infection that I let this, for want of a better word, a hippie woman, she was some kind of healer. I let her inject into my bladder. I mean, I was in such agony and so exhausted that this was like where I got to. And I've heard many clients talk about how they've remortgaged their houses to pay for some weird and wonderful treatment that someone's promised them is going to help. And a lot of these things do help temporarily. I was always at the chiropractor's office. I was always trying chiropractic or massage or doing yoga, Pilates, and all of these things were wonderful. But I had to keep going back to them. I had to keep going back to the journaling and the writing. I had to keep going back to talking about it and looking into new treatments. But my pain has been gone for almost 10 years now. I had chronic back pain for 25 years. I had allergies for probably 50 years. I had IBS, asthma, psoriasis, you name it. I probably had it at some point. And I see now that my body was screaming at me to calm down, to come back to this moment where I'm safe and have everything I need. And since I've been with this understanding, I could describe myself as being pain-free, meaning I haven't had any massive flare-ups in all that time. I have occasionally had a bit of a nudge every now and again if I get caught up in something, because I'm human and life still happens. And it's like a little tap on the shoulder if my back, gets a bit sore, um, or I get a bit of my stomach gets a little bit upset. It's letting me know that maybe my thinking is going off in a maybe a not helpful direction. So that's how I interpret those body sensations these days. They're information. They're letting me know where I'm heading with the quality of my thinking. And because of that, I feel that I can, I live a much more freer, bigger life now, that my life isn't restricted by my health or my different physical conditions. So that's what I wanted to start with. I just wanted to give a quick introduction of who I am and the kind of work that I do. And I've actually invited a couple of people here who are with us on this call who've actually already either done the course, the online course that I'm introducing you all to, and a couple of people who are actually on the live course that I did. And so I've invited them to come and just share if they want to talk about their experiences with the course. So let's see. I'm gonna pick on Hazel first, because she did the online course, the online version with the graphics and the animations. Hazel, would you like to share something about what it was like doing the course online?
Yeah, sure. Hi, I knew you'd pick on me first. Hi, everybody. Yeah, I did Hannah's course. I came across Hannah, I don't know, a couple of years ago now, actually via her pain list book. I had acute tooth pain at the time, and I'd been in the conversation of the three principles for about, I can't even remember now, 5 or 6 years. And I was asking for any book recommendations, and someone recommended Hannah's book. My tooth pain was acute. It wasn't a thing. I didn't read it because of that. I just happened to think, oh, pain, I wonder how the three principles go with that. And it was so fascinating and so interesting. So I joined Hannah's membership group and kind of explored further understanding of the three principles. So I've done the painless course, and I also had a one-to-one coaching session with you, Hannah, didn't I? But within a group setting. And actually, I was then at that point experiencing chronic pain for gallstones that I had been diagnosed with. That was about possibly 18 months ago now. And I was having terrible painful flare-ups, like comparable to childbirth. That's how painful it was. And I'd had the diagnosis and was waiting to see a surgeon. And then I saw a surgeon, and he wasn't really bothered about taking it out and all of this, but I just kept having these flare-ups and having these flare-ups. And it felt very related to food. And you Dr. Google tells you all the food you can't eat and what you should eat. And so I put myself on a very, very restricted diet, and I lost a lot of weight very quickly. But I kept still having the flare-ups. And the last flare-up I had was in August last year. And it was a flare-up a week before I went on my honeymoon. I just got married. And we went to Italy, and I hardly ate. And I was at the point where I was so frightened of the pain that I was frightened to drink water. I felt like if I drank too much water, that was going to cause some kind of reaction, and the pain was just on my mind the whole time. So I spoke to Hannah about it, and I haven't had any pain since. And so we're coming up for nearly a year, aren't we? A year in August. And it's fascinating to me, because how can something so real, I have physical gallstones, how can something so real suddenly not become a problem? And so with Hannah's help and various sessions and things, I was able to understand that, okay, the pain is a physical thing, but it's all experienced through my thought. And when I realised that, I don't experience it anymore, genuinely. And certainly, one of the things that Hannah and I talked about was how your digestive system works when you're very stressed. And I've been very stressed about my wedding and going on the honeymoon and everything. Um, and when it all landed for me, which is how the three principles work, when something really kind of lands for you in a non-intellectual way, because we can all understand everything with our brains, but when it really permeates, um, I just haven't had the pain. And because I used to dread every day and question everything I ate, what if I get the pain? What if I get the pain? I started to think, well, if you get the pain and then what? What's going to happen? Well, it's a pain, isn't it? And it's a pain, and my pain would go if it took a day or a week. And then suddenly I've eaten cake today and haven't even thought about gall pain. My gallstones are still there. They are still there. I get a very occasional ache, and exactly what you said, Hannah, rings alarm bells for me. And actually, rather than look at what I'm eating or what's causing the pain, I start to think, well, yeah, I have had a really tough week this week. I need to be kinder to myself, and I actually don't need to worry about the pain. Because, as well, if I had a pain that needed hospital treatment, I would know.
Mm. Yeah.
So, and I think that's the thing with chronic pain, when it's bubbling in the background all the time, and the doctors are telling you, no, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine, then you've got to look in a different direction, haven't you? Because you can have all the tests under the sun. We've all been there.
Right.
We've had all the holistic treatments and therapies and things like that. But there has to be, you have to look in a different direction.
Mhm.
And your course is absolutely perfect for that. And people, I feel that people will come to it for their pain, but then it opens up a whole thing of your whole life. Because for anyone who doesn't know the three principles, it all points to the same thing. No matter what the topic is, pain, anxiety, stress, depression, the conversation all points to the same thing. So you can look up any topic and it will relate to everything. And that's what I found with your painless course. And I love it. I love the aesthetics of it. I love the animations of it. I mean, I didn't know you'd done it like that, Hannah. I didn't know that I thought you were sat talking to yourself for the course. I had no idea that you'd done it that way. It's so professional.
Thank you.
I love it. I love the music. Yeah, I love there's like little videos as you're talking and things. It's great. And I really like the online bit of it, in that you can access it in your own time. I
Mhm.
think I did mine in about a week or so, because you get hungry for the next video. But some people may find that they need to watch one video and just absorb it and carry on with their lives, and then you can, yeah, do it in your own time. It's great.
Thank you. Um, yeah, I had so much fun with the graphics because
Mm.
it's a creative thing, part of me that I didn't know I knew how to do. And there's little thought bubbles, and I worked
You're
out how
so
to
good
make
at it.
the words scroll along the bottom, and
Yeah.
and little faces and voices, and people have told me that really, because we can talk about these concepts and these
Mm.
ideas,
Mm.
but then if you actually see the words scrolling along the bottom, or you see the thought, like, how much is my pain going to hurt today? Did I get enough sleep? All those kind of things.
Mm.
Like, sometimes it feels like it's just like bombarding you in our heads,
Mm.
and then you see it pop, and it can just
Mm.
disappear. That's how thought works. I really enjoyed doing that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly that. And we're visual creatures, aren't we, as humans? I
Mm,
know I am. I like a visual thing, but you're right, of the thought and then it popping and disappearing, which is exactly how thought works. So yeah, I loved it.
thank you. Thank you, Hazel. I'm going to pick on one of the guys now. Dennis is here. Hi, Dennis. Dennis was on the live course. Um, so, anything you would like to share?
Well, first of all, congratulations. This is brilliant. What a brilliant course for people to be able to take, and just, generally as a resource. Um, for myself, what attracted me to your online course is not so much that I was felt like I was suffering from any kind of chronic pain that attracted me to it, I've kind of worked a good portion of my life either in support of other people as a victim services through the local police or as a search and rescue. And it's never about learning in the moment. It's about what can I find out to take with me when somebody is in need of help. And having this resource so that if I hear somebody experience somebody, I can say, hey, I've got this great person that I've had the chance to sit on and learn from. So that's kind of where, whenever people ask me, why are you in this course? Is because I know you have some wisdom that you're going to share, and I'm going to get the advantage of that. So congratulations to you. This is wonderful. But I do actually come with this course with what I kind of like in my mind is like of chronic conditions and of chronic sensations. In my mind, is like the least of it. It's like and for me, it's my tinnitus, my tinnitus.
Mm.
And for people who are not familiar with tinnitus, it's just a very pervasive ringing or sound that is in your head. Nobody around you can hear it, but you identify it as hearing a sound because it's in your head all the time. And one of the things that I've noticed as I've had it probably about 20 years now, and really didn't identify it, is that the tinnitus can change in its levels. And sometimes it's just very, very pervasive. It's in there, it's in your face, and it's going, and it's like it doesn't seem to want to go away. And other times it's just like very, very thin. It's just playing in the background. And after sitting through your through the online course, the live course, I recognized that one day I was having a conversation with my wife. We were sitting and we were having a conversation, and the dogs were around us doing dog things. And all of a sudden I realized I'm not getting the sensation of the tinnitus. It was like almost walking into a club where the music wasn't playing. And you stop for a moment and you go, "Whoa, wait a minute, something's off here." You know. And so in that brief second, of course, then my attention turned back to it, and all of a sudden it started to come back in and come back in again. But it gave me kind of that little bit of hope and that little bit of curiosity that there is something other than a constant ringing and constant noise that goes on all the time. Um, so yeah, there's that hope that came from being part of this course. Uh, the other thing, and I know you talk about it quite a lot, and so I don't want to really dive into it heavily, was how you pointed out what pain is doing for us.
Mm.
And I think during the class, I just related a story about not a chronic condition as much as I was having pain in my chest. And I kind of went, okay, yeah, that hurts, but it's not debilitating me. So I was mowing the lawn and I would mow for a while and the pain would build up and I would go and rest. And then I would go back and mow the lawn for a while and the pain would build up. And it's like it was saying to me, look over here. There's something going on. Really, really needs your attention. Um, but I did. I kind of followed that path, and then the next day, a Sunday, my wife and I were taking our dog for a walk, and we got about a quarter of a mile up the road, and the pain really started in. And it wasn't that it dropped me to my knee or anything, but I just finally said to my wife, I said, there's something going on here, and it's not going away. And I think we need to do something about it. And she said, well, she says, we can either go to the emergency room on Sunday or you can make an appointment with your doctor. And I knew that either path led to going to a larger hospital. So I said, well, we might as well go today. We might as well go today. And so we went to the emergency room. They shipped me to a larger hospital. They did some x-rays and they found my LAD in my heart had 90% blockage. And so if you have a heart attack from an LAD blockage, you're done. You're gone. So whatever that pain was, whatever that wisdom was, it said, just look here a little bit more and stop ignoring it. So it's understanding kind of that path of, pain isn't there to make you suffer as much as it's there to make you say, hey, look over here. And so I really appreciated that wisdom that you shared with us.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Dennis. It really, like, pain is always a signal, whether it's, you sprained your ankle in the park, or you need to get to the emergency room, or it's coming from, what we generally call the mind-body connection, meaning it's coming from, a stress-related experience. It's trying to get my attention. And so I think that really helped me shift my relationship with pain, so I'm not so scared of it, and to see it as, like, hopefully we, like, the earlier you catch it, like you did, you're able to catch it and go to the emergency room. Or I found now, if my back starts to get a little bit sore, uncomfortable, it's usually telling me that I'm too much up in my head. I'm too much, like, maybe I've gotten a bit, preoccupied with something, and I need to come back to the moment. Because, like I said, we're human, and so learning the language of my body has been a really, really such a blessing. So thank you for sharing that story. That was great.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm gonna pick on Jem now. There she is, because I owe Jem, like, such a big gratitude, because as I was doing the course and I was editing it, and it was, like, say, the first time I've done this kind of thing. I sent the videos to Jem, and she put her eagle eye on it and like, helped me with my spelling is awful, and there's probably a few more spelling mistakes in there that we didn't catch. So if you're a perfectionist, you might notice those. You're welcome to tell me about them. But Jem, I just want to invite you to share anything, because you were such a great help in just as I was going through and giving me amazing feedback. So what would you like to share? Anything?
Yeah, I'm sure. Thank you for putting this out there anyway. I just wanted to, it's been such a nice experience to get to know you. But my story is that I got a virus, and leading up to the virus, then I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue. And then I was going from doctor to doctor to find an answer. And I was just told there's no cure for fibromyalgia. You just have to take antidepressants, suppress your nervous system, and just move on. And I was like, no, that's not going to work for me. I don't want to go down that route, because straight away, I just thought antidepressants is when you're depressed, and I'm not depressed. So I don't want to do that. And I understand everyone has their own healing journey, and this was mine. So this is what I decided to do. But something within me said, no, that's not for you. So then that put me on a path of, why am I in so much pain? Like, so much deep chronic pain. And it's been, I got unwell in end of 2020. And only the last 5 months that the pain has actually improved to the point where I wasn't aware that my body was screaming at me. And that was what your course taught me from not understanding. I was just questioning, why am I in so much pain? What have I done? That was kind of like my path of understanding the pain, because I didn't know. I just didn't understand. And innocently, I went down that path of, what have I done to myself to make myself be in so much pain? But then knew that I could heal myself. I knew within that this is not it for me. I'm not just going to get a label and just be told there's nothing to do. So I started doing all the things, chiro, osteo, acupuncture, and then I was just like, I was getting days where I was not so good and days when I was a bit better, but nothing really shifted the pain, this deep pain that I was experiencing. And then I started doing other things, and then it led me to the free principles. I started a practitioner course in October, the 6-month course, and I met Kerry, who's online as well at the moment. And she said, have you heard of Hannah? She's really good. Like, I've heard some stuff about her and her book, and she kindly bought me the book as well. And then that's when I come across Hannah, because on the course, I was like, okay, but how's the pain? How am I going to help? How is this understanding going to help the pain? And I was like, okay, I'm going to wait, because it's going to come up. I had a feeling it was going to come up on the course, but I was just like patiently waiting. And then when Kerry mentioned it, I was like, okay, there's something here. So I started listening to some videos, and then you mentioned, Kerry said she's going to jump on your course, your online course. I was like, okay, I've got a lot going on at the moment. Financially, I can't afford this. And that's when I reached out to you and I said, Hannah, this is what's going on for me. I know that my body's in hypervigilant state, very stressed out, very overloaded, because for a long time I was in burnout, and that led to chronic fatigue and the fibromyalgia. So I understand how I got there. It was just, how am I going to help myself move forward from the pain? And it was only coming across the understanding that the three principles, understanding that it just resonated. Something within me was like, yes, there's something to this, something, this is going to help. But I didn't know how it's linked to the pain and the understanding. But the more I listened to your videos, and I was just like, I really just like the way you explain things, like in such a way that anyone will understand it. It's not like how you don't make things complicated. You make it very simple, very easy to understand and relate to. And the fact that obviously you've come from a background of pain, it's kind of, that's relatable, because you can say, I had pain and now I don't have pain. And everyone wants to be pain-free. That's what we all want. We want to live a life where we're all happy, content, and pain-free. Like, that's just what we want. But yeah, listening to your videos or for your course is just, it made my understanding deeper, and secondly, understand how the pain is. And I was like that as well, where there was days I'd wake up and I'd be like, how much pain am I in? I didn't realize I was doing that. I didn't realize I was waiting for the pain. And that was kind of like the thing that shifted for me. I was like, in the morning now, I just don't even think about it anymore, so I don't feel the pain. Yes, massive change for me. And going forward is just having this understanding and not having that pain. Is just like, before I used to take painkillers for everything. I would not want to feel any pain. But innocently, that again, it just, the understanding helped me understand that innocently I was just doing what was available to me at the time. I was just suppressing, and eventually it just led to the fibromyalgia. So I'm just grateful for your course. I'm grateful for you sharing. And it's been a lovely experience just working alongside you behind the scenes, but still getting what I needed from it for myself, for my own healing journey, which I'm very grateful for. Truly, just a true trooper you are. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Jem. I really appreciate all your input. It was needed and much appreciated. Thank you. So I know there's a few other people here on here who are welcome to say something, but I wanted to stop for a second because I promised I would do a raffle. So we've got a first prize and a second prize. And the first prize, I'm going to do the second prize first. The second prize is the first module in the course, which as I described, it's called the Nature of Pain. It's an hour-long video. And I can send it to you as an unlisted YouTube video, so you don't have to. It's free for the person who wins this prize, separate from the course. And I've got my IKEA cooking bowl here, and I've put everybody's names who emailed me, and all the people from my membership group are in here. So I'm going to pick out a name for the second prize. Da, 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 da. Okay. Let's see. Gitty Olson. Let's see. Is Gitty here? I don't know. Let's see. There's 2 pages of people here. Gitty, if you're here, because I saw her name come up. I have her email, so maybe she's not here anymore. But okay. So Gitty has won the second prize, which is the hour-long Nature of Pain. So so stick around because the first prize is coming up. So first of all, I just want to ask if there's any questions, because I offered this as a Q&A as well. So if anybody would like to, I don't know, if you can put your little yellow hand up if you have any questions, if anybody wants to ask anything about the course or about pain in general. Yeah, Patricia.
All right. You know what I'm going to ask about. Is depression pain? Is depression pain?
Is depression pain? Wow.
What?
I said, wow, okay. I didn't know you were going to ask that.
Oh, come on. You should know. I mean, come on. I've given an hour ago, half an hour. Okay, anyway, go on. Sorry. I get when I'm pissy. I get pissy. Okay, go on. Sorry.
Well, let me think. Well, how does it feel do you feel a physical sensation as a result of depression?
Yeah, I feel stoned. I feel groggy. I feel stoned. The energy leaks out of me, and then I go boom, because I have no energy
Right.
like that. I
Right.
guess you could almost call it, yeah, a weakness. I mean, I'm not gonna, Jem, I'm not gonna say chronic fatigue. I mean, I'm not gonna go that far, but yeah, I mean, it's just that's a physical sensation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So fatigue is can become very much a chronic situation. So hopefully we're catching it before it's gonna, like the other people were saying, like when you catch something before it turns into a chronic situation. Because I've worked with people with chronic fatigue and it's very debilitating. I had a client here locally once and a couple of years ago, and he had chronic fatigue so bad his eyes would be closing whilst we're talking. He had difficulty keeping his eyes open, and he had two small children, and it was becoming very difficult for him to function. And so, what I would suggest to someone to look at is what it's not so much about what the specific thing that the fatigue is trying to tell you, but I would say it's letting us know that we're spending too much time up in our heads. The content of the stories and the old ideas and the stuff that's going on in my head, it's kind of irrelevant for our purposes. We don't need to get into the stories of who said what and when did that tragedy happen and what are we thinking about, catastrophizing, all that stuff, because that always gets us stuck into more thinking. What if it's just letting us know that we're spending too much time up here, up in our thinking, and we need to be more present? Because in my experience, and I don't know if this is you, but most people who are experiencing depression are probably thinking about themselves, right?
Yes.
Right?
Obsessed, obsessed,
Right.
obsessed.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to
Yes.
be
Oh
rude to
my
anybody, but
God. Oh
yes,
my God. I
right.
become a selfish, self-centered bitch. It's horrible.
Right.
My
So,
God.
right. So when we think about ourselves to such a degree that your body is suffering, that's a big alarm system. That's a huge clue, right? Your body is trying to get your attention, say, Patty, cut it out, right? Stop spending so much time thinking about yourself. And when I've spoken to people who are in this situation, it's kind of like I use the analogy of tooth pain. Like I think someone was Hazel mentioned tooth. Like we've all probably had toothache at some point, and when you have that kind of toothache where you're holding onto your face and the pain is shooting at the top of your head, and you're driving to the dentist, all you can think about is the pain. Possibly the dentist who might make it better. But when you're in that kind of pain, all we can think about is the pain. And so that kind of like you use the word self-centered, that self-obsession is not healthy. It's an extreme,
No.
right? All extremes are not healthy. So, and some people are the opposite. They're thinking about everybody else and they put themselves last. It doesn't really matter which end of the extreme we're on. My body started to scream at me when I was in an unhealthy relationship up in my head. Conversation for one, or thinking about myself, or thinking only about the pain and only about the problems. How was I going to get through the day?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. So the way the mind works, it's a very reliable system. If we spend hours and hours and hours in miserable, low, grumpy, or analytical, or heavy, intense thinking, you can't feel good, right? It's right. And if the opposite is true, if we spend time in happy, abundant, joyful thinking, you cannot feel bad, right? So
Mhm.
it's kind of a, a good answer when I get a nudge from my body, when it starts to hurt or I feel uncomfortable, it's nudging me out of the obsessiveness in my head and into the present. And the opposite of being obsessed with myself and thinking about myself and my body and my problems and my pain is to think of somebody else. Think about what I can contribute. Like just going out, walk around the block and talk to somebody. Just getting out,
Okay.
right, is a, that's what because when I got into so much intense pain, my world shrank and got smaller and
Oh,
smaller and smaller.
my world is the size of a pea right
Right,
now.
right. So that's your clue, right? That's your clue. It's time to come out of that. And
I don't know how, but that's okay.
well,
I'll just,
you do, right? You're going to stop listening to that thinking
I've
that's
been trying to stop listening now for 3 weeks, but it's got me locked in a room with the speakers going. Blah,
right.
blah.
Well, when
And I,
when that's happening, it's because we're not really seeing that it's made of thought.
so I just have to wait till I see that. I mean, that's hopeful. That's hopeful.
Right. But you
That's
will,
hopeful.
because
And I will.
I know you've seen it before.
Right. Okay. All right. I,
I'm
I love that. What I learned from this, whether or not it shifts at the moment, what I learned from it is thinking about yourself, because that's what, and narrowing. I love that. That's very awesome.
right.
Thank you very much. I
You're welcome.
really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Susan, would you like to ask something?
Yes, I would. Thank you. Um, I have known about like John Sarno for years, and I actually had a lot of really good, I did a lot of work on myself, read books and so on, and I got rid of some bad sciatica and but I've never ever really kicked everything, and actually the sciatica sort of switched to where I got tingling in my feet, and kind of sometimes when I'm walking I'll get a weakness in my hips, but and sometimes it's not there, and sometimes it's there, and sometimes it's more, and sometimes it's less.
Mm.
I have other things like shoulder and so on. So I think because I'm aware of all of this, that I'm not in great pain. I mean, I was when I had the really bad sciatica, and I made myself walk 7 miles one day when I could hardly walk down my driveway, and I decided, I wasn't going to stop until it stopped. And it did, I have had some success. But what do you think about symptoms like that, where weakness and tingling and so on? Do you consider that the same as pain? It's just another way of expressing?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that for sure. Because I think I say this at the beginning of the course, is that when I say chronic pain, it covers everything from like dizziness, tingling, migraines, food allergies, itchiness. There's all kinds of ways that the alarm signal shows up. So, and I had the same thing where I had sciatica as well. It was usually down my down my right leg. I would wake up sometimes with my arm would be numb, so numbness is another one, so um, it's the, obviously I would say to everybody, I mean, I am not a doctor. I would say to anybody who's, dealing with this for the first time, please go to the doctor and get it checked out. Most people I speak to have been to 20 doctors. They've had it checked out multiple times with multiple tests and x-rays, and most of the time we're told that there's no physical cause for it, or the physical cause that people find, it doesn't actually explain the pain that we're experiencing. So, but I think the most important thing in what you said was about how sometimes it's worse and sometimes it's better. That's a clue that it's a chronic pain. And for those who don't know, Dr. Sarno, who Susan just mentioned, he was a pioneer in the mind-body medicine world of making that connection between stress and anxiety and how it manifests in the body. And one of the things that he taught was that if it comes and goes, or there's certain situations where it's better and certain situations where it's worse, or like walking, like I used to get that. My sciatica, my back were like killing me. I'd be bent sideways, bent forward, could hardly move my leg, and I would make myself walk. I could walk it out, it would go away. So that kind of proves to me that it's a mind-body thing, because if it were structural, I don't think walking would make it better. It probably actually would make it worse. So I'm not a doctor, so don't quote me on that. But so the fact that it comes and goes, that's a big clue, that it's coming from the what we call the limbic system, the emotional part of the brain, rather than it's a structural thing. Because if it was a structural thing, it would be there all the time. I learned that from Dr. Howard Schubiner, who's a wonderful medical doctor who was trained by Dr. Sarno. And I've actually have a video now. I've made a 20-minute video with 10 questions where the Dr. Schubiner, the course that I did, he taught us 10 things to look out for that will help you identify whether it's I hesitate to say real pain or chronic pain, because all pain is real, because it all hurts, right? Even if it's coming from the mind body, or if it's coming from stress, it still can be absolute agony. So when we say real pain, I don't mean that you're imagining it or making it up. It really hurts. What I mean is it's coming from something structural or biological, or is it coming from something that is being brought on by spending too much time up in our heads, and we're stressing and anxiety. And so if anybody's interested in that video, please let me know. You can send me an email. I think it's 20 minutes I made of and going through all these 10 points that he makes. And one of them is when it comes and goes. That is one of the things that Dr. Sano pointed out, that it's probably so once you see that your pain is coming and going, and it's not structural, it's probably coming from something, in our mind-body connection. That's why I would encourage you to look into these ideas, because what I found was, as long as I was going to the chiropractor, doing massage, trying to push through and walk it out, writing about it, some of those things would help temporarily, but I'd have to keep doing them. I went to the chiropractor for 25 years. I wrote for probably 30 years, right? And the pain would come and I'd start writing about it. I'd go to the chiropractor and writing them, and it was exhausting, which now looking back, I think is why the pain kept going, because all the writing and the treatments, it's as if they were revving up the nervous system and keeping me in that tense, anxious place, that there was something wrong with my body and I needed to fix it. Once I let go of the treatments and the writing and all that stuff, and I saw that actually I didn't need fixing, that there was nothing wrong with me, that's when my pain went away, right? So I have not been to the chiropractor in probably 10 years now. I haven't written anything. I mean, I've written books, but I haven't had to do writing to fix my mental health in almost 10 years. And I'm pretty pain-free most of the time. Yeah. So if you'd like to learn more, you can go on my website and see more information about this. But thank you for the question. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is it Abian? Is that how you say your name?
Yes. Hi.
Oh, I got it right. Good. Hi.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Hi. So my question is a bit of a long-winded one. Excuse me. So my symptoms are all digestive based, to be honest. Really bad digestive issues. I'm on like quite a restricted diet and have been I don't know, I think I want to say for the past 3 years now. And I've had a lot of tests done, like I've had all the scopes and everything else, but they found some inflammation. I've got like one of those like hernias, like when your stomach comes into your esophagus, and then silent reflux, that's another one that they've diagnosed me with, and all the rest of it. So a lot of those things mean that you've got to be really particular about your diet. But what I've noticed is, and basically I came to this because I was like, there are moments where I actually don't have any symptoms. That's basically when I'm out socializing, being around other people, and I'm not really thinking consciously of my symptoms. And I don't seem to get like any symptoms then. I can eat pretty much a lot of things that I wouldn't be able to eat if I was on my own, for example. And that made me think maybe there's other stuff going on. So I came across a video on YouTube a bit about TMS. So I started learning about that. However, so what I started trying to do was the journaling of Nicole, the journal speak one.
Yeah.
And when I started doing that, I noticed that my symptoms actually ramped up. It was almost as if it got 10 times worse, sort of thing. So I'm now in a situation where I'm like, okay, I get what it is. Like, I have like the intellectual understanding of it, but it's kind of trying to put it into practice and thinking this is more of a mind body situation rather than a like physical thing.
Right.
It's kind of off-putting. So my question is, how come the symptoms get worse when you actually try and approach it from a
Yeah.
non-medical route?
Right. So it's kind of what I was just saying to Susan, and obviously this is just my experience, and I'm going to preface this by saying I know there's a lot of people who the journaling helps, right? And if journaling helps, if meditation helps, if changing your diet helps, that's fantastic because we really don't want anyone to suffer. I'm not telling anyone they shouldn't do those things. But like you, I've had a lot of people contact me saying that when they started journaling, things got worse. And my belief about it, I'm going to use a very crude example, and forgive me for because it's a little bit gross. But let's say someone's carrying around a secret for most of their life, right? And when you're carrying around a secret, that's a lot of internal pressure. And so it's good to get it out, right? So the analogy is like throwing up, right? If we eat something that's rotten or what wasn't very good quality, the wisdom of the body is to expel it. We vomit, right? Now, vomiting once to get rid of some food or bacteria or whatever is fine. That's wisdom. But vomiting every day, no good, right? That's why I use that analogy, so it's going to be gross. But so I found the people who the journaling doesn't work for, or expressive writing, or whatever form we're using, it's probably because the stress of remembering whether it's traumas or tragedies or mistakes maybe we've made, some shame, guilt, all those kind of horrible feelings are only going to rev the nervous system up even more. And when the nervous system is revved up, our bodies are going to start screaming at us. So I can't tell you how many people have contacted me saying, I tried this, or it worked for a while, like the one time throwing up was healthy and is a good idea. But to keep doing it and keep doing it, it's actually then counterproductive and making their nervous system more revved up. And the reason I actually did focus on gut issues in the second episode of the course, because it's very, very common. I mean, back pain was really my major problem, but I had IBS on and off for many, many years. And so what I learned was that if we are in fight or flight, the fight or flight response, the stress response, as I trained as a first responder, and what I learned was that when our brain thinks we're in danger, right? It doesn't mean we are, but let my brain thinks we're in danger, then it's going to shut down systems in our body that are not necessary for life. And you think, well, you need digestion. Well, not if you're running for 20 minutes to climb a tree to get away from, a tiger or something, or to run out of the house. Most people can get away from emergency in about 20 minutes. Right? It takes about 20 minutes to, get out of a burning house, to call 911, to get out of a car if you've been in a car accident. And in that moment, the brain actually shuts down digestion, it shuts down fertility, it shuts down forward planning, creativity. There's lots of things that the brain will shut down because it knows that your life is on the line and you have to find that fire exit. You have to remember the emergency number. Now, that's an amazing system. We were designed that way to survive. That's like whether you call it evolution or creation, it doesn't matter. We are designed to survive. But it was designed to last for about 20 minutes. And if we're in stress for 2 hours, 4 hours, 8, 16, 18 hours a day, from the anxiety that we're innocently misunderstanding in life, and then we're writing about it or meditating about it or trying to avoid it, suppress it, like whatever words people want to use, then my brain's going to think my life is on the line all the time. And so that's why lots of people get digestive issues, because if the brain is shutting down the digestive system because it's a luxury to digest lunch if you're running for your life, and then we get hungry and we put food in, and you're putting food into a system that's shut down, there's going to be problems. There's going to be bloating and diarrhea and constipation and pain, and all kinds of things can happen, with gut issues. And so, I've had clients say to me, but I'm allergic to water. I can't even drink water. And I'm like, how can you be allergic to water? We're made of 80% water. But it's not that we're allergic to water. It's just that the system is shutting down, and it doesn't matter. You could put the most organic, healthy, stuff in there, and there's going to be problems. So the answer to me is coming out of that thinking, first of all, understanding how this works. And then when you understand that we're always feeling our thinking, and if my thinking is always moving through, I don't actually have to do anything, because every rotten, boring, scary thought I've ever had is passed on, including the happy and joyful ones too, right? So once you start understanding how this works, and this innate well-being system that I described at the beginning, when you understand how the innate well-being system works, that we all have innate health, even when we're feeling rotten and in pain. There's an innate health underneath all that suffering that can't go away and doesn't get broken. And when we come back to the moment, we get in touch with it, our bodies don't need to scream anymore, and they get better. My IBS went away, my asthma, my allergies went away. And like I said, if they crop up, it's just because they're just like, it's just like nudging me. Where are you going? What's going on with your thinking? And then it doesn't have to go into a full-blown flare-up anymore, and it comes back to homeostasis, as doctors will call it, and into balance. So hopefully that was helpful. So a long answer to a long question.
Thank you. I think what I struggle with, sorry, I know I'm taking up maybe someone else's time, but what I struggle with is maybe, and I understand, I think at least I feel I understand it, like that what's happening is actually a hypervigilant, or my nervous system just being so dysregulated from the past few years, for example. So, and it's just kind of stuck now. But
I wouldn't say it's stuck, because even thinking it's stuck is a heavy feeling to that. There's like a hopelessness to stuck. It's not stuck. It's just that's how it is right now. And it'll pass. Everything passes. Right? Because even that just a shift in perception, just a shift in seeing that feels a little bit lighter, a little bit more hopeful. Right? Yeah. Happy to talk more if you want to reach out. That's great.
Thank you.
So we've almost come out of time. So now the raffle for the first prize of the whole course for free. It's $97. Is the full price. So I'm going to pick out another one. So this one is Sherry Hardin. Is Sherry on the call? She emailed me. Is Sherry here? Sorry, I'm picking up people that were, let's see, is she on the other one? Hopefully unmute yourself if you're here, Sherry. No? Okay, so I have her email, so I have to, I'll contact them. So Gitty and Sherry are winners. So great. So we're almost out of time. I'm happy to stay and answer questions if anybody else has questions, so if you need to go, that's fine. We've had our raffle. Please check out this recording is available. I'll post it on my Facebook page, and if and the link. So if you want to check out the course, it's on my website, which is hannahstudley.com. It's pretty simple, and on the first page you'll see a link there, and it will take you to the page, and you can sign up. And like I said, Hazel or Jem said, it's, you can go at your own pace. The sessions are an hour each, but there's little chapter headings on them, and you can stop and re-listen and go back and go forward. And if you need to help whilst you're doing the course, there's a chat box. You can message me or email me. I'm happy to answer any questions. So please check it out. So Hazel, you have your hand up again. What did you want to say?
Oh, I literally wanted to say to Abby Ann, do the course, because I was you. So I had all the digestive problems under the sun. I don't have any now. So I promise you, although it talks about pain, digestion is a similar thing.
Yeah.
So I was gluten-free, dairy-free, everything free. And now I make certain choices for myself, but honestly, and like Hannah said, the journaling never, ever worked for me. Food diaries, ugh, hate them. So honestly, if there's ever a course for someone like you, Abian, honestly, I would highly, highly recommend it.
Thank you. Great. So I don't know if anybody else has any questions. Angela, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I've just ordered the course. I've got it. The only words I can say is wow. I am so wowed by it. I listened to the very first one about pain. Oh, so interesting. I had to have 4 days to let all of it sink in. I've never heard anything like it. It's absolutely fabulous. So I am so pleased with this course. I really am. So thank you very much.
Thanks. That's really sweet of you. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, thank you. So I don't know if there's no other questions, and if you want to ask me anything, you're welcome to email me, or you can. Oh, Brent, you wanted to ask something?
Yes, excuse me. I just wanted to thank everybody who gave us their perspectives, and especially Hazel. I felt like your description of the course and how it helped you was incredibly moving, and I think you at least sold one. and thank you, Hannah, for holding this webinar. I found it very helpful.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you, Brent. Yeah, great. Okay, so it's been really nice to see some familiar faces and to meet some new people. And like I said, you're welcome to reach out or check it out on the website. And I'd love to hear your feedback. If you take it, feel free to tell me what you think and ask questions. And Patty, you want to say one last thing before we finish?
Yeah, I'm just really excited to know that I'm thinking about myself.
You didn't know that?
No, I really didn't. I thought I was trying to help myself, but it's not working.
No,
It must be like journaling in my brain, just a septic tank I'm creating by thinking of myself. So I'm really grateful for that you said that.
I'm glad you came today. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
Stop thinking about yourself. Great. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. It was nice to meet you and spend some time with you, and we'll be in touch. Okay, take care.
Bye. Bye. Bye.